computer. We'll talk a little bit more in your appointments about Canvas and how we're utilizing that this semester, but we're going to have some information in bank with like a bank or a place to put videos and things like that. So if you ever want to go back to it, or you're like, your friend didn't attend and they're like, hey, I didn't go that welcome, direct them to Canvas. They could watch this video right now. Okay. As soon as we put it up, actually. All right. Oh, it's going to make me click the arrows. It's not letting me use my keyboard. All right. So first of all, welcome to MSU Denver, your first week here at MSU Denver. Quickly, just to let you know what to expect within this hour, we're going to have an icebreaker. Everybody's like, oh, those are so scary. It's not. It's a way to get to know each other and know who's in the room. And then intro to DSF. So a lot of you might have came from high schools that have future centers. Within DSF, you worked with a college advisor. How does DSF now look as well on the college side of things? So we want you to know a little bit about that. Meet your advisor. That's who's in the room. You might see all these different faces on your screen. Requirements, success strategies. Requirements sounds harsh, but we want you to know that they will lead you to success. We've had a lot of students do really well who meet those requirements, who meet with us, attend events, all that type of stuff. Pathways, we'll talk a little bit about that. It's a great tool that we're going to be utilizing as a DSF scholar. Important dates, and then also the DSF leadership program. We have a special guest here today as well who will tell you a little bit more about that. Okay. And then in addition, as you have questions, BJ is going to be monitoring the chat. So you could throw your questions in the chat. You could type them out. He'll be reading them. If there's a lot of questions, we'll probably wait for them at the end, but know that we will get to it. So as they pop up, drop it in the chat so you don't forget. Okay. I'm going to hand it over to, I think it's Liz.
It is. Hey, everybody, I'm Liz. I might be your advisor. Good to meet you. We're going to do a little bit of get to know you just to hear from everyone in the room. So in a moment, I'll be calling on all of you, and I'd like you to turn your camera on so we can see your beautiful face. And then also unmute, and you'll share your name and pronouns, the high school you went to, your major in college that you've selected, one thing you're excited about, and one thing that you're nervous about right now. If for some reason you can't turn your camera on, just let us know. But otherwise, we'd love to see you. So looking at my list. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Please correct me. Let's start with Valerie, first one on my screen. Can you turn your camera on, Valerie? Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Go ahead and share what's on the screen.
So my name is Valerie and my pronouns is she, her. The high school that I went to is Collegiate Prep Academy. My major is nursing, and one thing I'm excited about college is getting the new experience and having fun seeing what's out there. And something I'm nervous about is probably the different level of difficulty of the classes.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm also excited for you for those things. I'm sure other people in here are nervous about the same things too. It will be a little harder probably. Let's go to Jacob. Could you turn your camera on for us? Hi.
Hi, my name is Jacob. My pronouns are he, him. I went to Dsf High School. My major right now is currently undecided, and one thing I'm excited about is my history class that I'm taking, but I'm also nervous about a presentational speaking class that I'm also taking.
What's the history class?
World history from 1500.
I would love to take that class. It sounds awesome. And I, like you, would be very nervous about public speaking, but it'll be okay. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate it. Let's go to Amol Banin. Amol Banin, did I say your name right?
Hi, can you hear me right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't turn on my camera, but my name is Amol Banin, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And the high school I went to was Cape Norris Denver Leadership Academy. And now I'm in computer science major. One thing I'm excited about is getting new experiences and learn new things. To be honest, I'm not really nervous about anything. So yeah,
Just feeling excitement. That's awesome. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
Let's go to Brandy. You turn your camera on? Hey, Brandy.
I can't leave my camera on. I'm also like on work at the same time.
Got
But
it.
my name is Brandy. My pronouns are she and her. I graduated from North High School. My major is criminal justice and I'm minoring in business. One thing I'm excited about is my astronomy class. And then one thing I am nervous about is I guess just the workload. I'm in the process of possibly getting hired full time with my apprenticeship and like just kind of figuring out everything with like work and school. So just nervous about that.
Yeah, that makes sense, Brandy. Well, that's one thing that as advisors here that we would love to help you with is trying to figure out how to manage school and work or school and an internship or something like that. So we're right with you there. Let's go to Juan.
Sorry, Jesus Christ, I'm sick as well, so
Sorry,
I
Juan.
apologize, but I can't turn my camera on right now. I just don't have a webcam.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I'm a sophomore actually, so there isn't really much I'm like nervous about. I'm kind of just excited to get back in the classes, but my pronouns are he, him, his. My major is exercise science, and I went to John F. Kennedy High School.
Cool. Were you at MSU last year, Juan, or a different school?
I was at MSU last year, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for being here. And I hope you feel better. Let's go to Melissa.
Hello, I'm Melissa. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm also a sophomore. I'm majoring in mathematics with a secondary education licensure, and I am just excited. Also not nervous. My second year, but yeah.
You got through your first year. You're feeling confident. I love it. Thanks for being here, Melissa. And
Yes.
how about Roberto? No problem, Roberto. Are you able to use your audio?
Yeah, I can turn it on.
Cool.
My name is Roberto Alcantara, and my pronouns are he and him. I went to Strive Prep Rise High School, and I'm majoring in psychology.
Ooh.
I guess one thing I'm excited about is just exploring my knowledge and just going to school again, I guess. And then one thing I'm nervous about is just meeting people and I guess the workload that I may encounter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're all on the same page about that. Yeah, we've got a fellow psych major in the room. You hear from Denise in a sec. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Did I miss anybody? I think that's at all. Oh, yes. Awesome. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so thank you for sharing. You're not quite off the hook yet. I have some questions for you. This slide is to introduce you to DSF, but I bet you all know a little bit about it already. What is something that you know about DSF? What is it? What do we do? You can write your answer in the chat or you can unmute. What is DSF? What do we do? Scholarships? Provide scholarships to students. Yep. Help students pay for college. Yeah. Scholarships in the name. You're all here for the scholarship. We definitely is a huge component of what our work is and a part of our mission. Maybe some of our sophomores can tell us another part. Besides the money, what else happens with your advisors?
I'm not quite sure. I'm in Pathways of Possible as well, and their whole advising thing is just helping me figure out what exactly I want to do and finding just ways to get into the career path I want to get into. Just
Yeah.
a support system, I guess.
Yeah, so a support system for you as you go on your educational journey with like a big emphasis into career. Yeah, and we're going to talk more about what that looks like too in a minute. Absolutely. Did any of you, I don't think so, but did any of you have like a college advisor in high school?
I did.
Yeah, what did they do for you?
They just made sure that everyone was applying to scholarships and colleges, and they helped us with our college essays. They also helped us with just starting the foundation to what career you would like to take.
Yeah, so we all just summed up basically the 3 parts of what DSF does. We have a college access, which is the high school part. A lot of the high schools in Denver have like a future center with an advisor that helps people get into college, right? Those essays, FAFSA, that kind of thing. And then there's the money. So anyone who attends a Denver public high school and is under a certain income level gets a 4-year scholarship. So for 4 consecutive years or 4 years in a row. But we know based on research and just history of giving out scholarships that a lot of just giving people money doesn't quite do it all the time. They need a little more support and guidance along with the money to help pay for college. So that's where we come in. You're going to be your success coach, your advisor for the next 4 years or however long it takes you to cross that stage, that graduation stage, just to make sure you have the support that you need to get there. So that's the college success part, which we're going to talk about today. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Liz. That was great. And thank you, everybody, for participating and turning your cameras on if you're able to. So now what we're going to do is we're going to meet the advisors. So your DSF advisor, like Liz has alluded to, is here to support you through your next 4 years. Some of you right now might have 3 years left, but we're here to support you. We're kind of that person that you could reach out to once you hit a roadblock or an obstacle, or to celebrate your successes as well. But in addition to that, we do like to at least meet with students at least 3 times during the semester. Like I mentioned before, we have found that students that continue to meet with us, that stay communicating with us, that look at our emails. We're going to get away from emails and we'll talk about that with you. But as long as you're communicating with us, you're going to get information that's going to help you to be successful from your DSF campus advisor. So there are 5 of us at MSU Denver. We also have campus advisors at CCD and also CU Denver. But we actually have from what I'm noticing is the most students and the most campus advisors. Reach out to us when you need help, attend events that we invite you to, but that's what we're here to do. A couple of things that we do not do is we're not going to do the footwork for you. We will provide the resources and the guidance and the coaching and things like that, but we definitely need you to take part in your success. So once we give you those types of resources or guidance, we really want you to run with it, okay, and try it out, give it a chance. In addition to that, we want it to be a 2-way street where we're communicating, but also you are communicating as well. That's how we develop the best relationship with our students and you with us as advisors. And let me go here. So this is me. This is my family up on top. I'm not going to read through my bio right now, but you could definitely go to the DSF website and read through our bios if you want to get to know us a little bit more. But as you do set your first appointment, we will tell you more, maybe even about our story. But this is my husband, my daughter, and then myself, and this is DMC from the rap group Run DMC from the 80s, 90s. We got to meet him at Denver Comic-Con, I think it was in 2019. And it was a lot of fun to get to meet a celebrity. I think that's one of the first celebrities I've met that I could remember. He signed my husband's Adidas shoes. They have a song called My Adidas. We actually sold those shoes for $90. We let him go, but that's just kind of like a piece of what that picture represents. A real fun time. Fun fact about myself, I could play several instruments, and I've only had formal training with one, and that would be guitar. But I've taught myself piano, ukulele, the kalimba. My daughter is actually inspiring me to keep doing music, as it's a big stress reliever for myself. And I will pass it on to, let's see who's next. I'll pass it on to Liz.
Thanks, Anitra. I'd love to hear you play an instrument sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. I'm very shy to sing, but I'll play. I might crank out a song for y'all.
So my name's Liz. Again, this is a picture of me and my son, Bryn. He was born in October. And yeah, that's like the big news in my life. Besides joining Denver Scholarship Foundation, I started here in April. And before that, I was a high school teacher at Girls Athletic Leadership School. Before that, I taught middle school in Commerce City and on the Montbello campus at Knoll Community Arts School. So I've been a teacher for about 8 years before transitioning to this role. And I'm just really excited to work with adults and to work like one-on-one with students. I'm already enjoying it a lot. Fun fact, I am a dual citizen, Wales and the United States. My mom is Welsh. And I've spent a lot of time in Wales, but also the Middle East. Before I moved to Denver, I worked in a job where I got to travel to the Middle East a lot. And so that's kind of like a side passion of mine. So thanks.
Hi, thank you for your patience with that transition. I am Denise Vialba. I'm also one of the DSF advisors here. I'm from Southern California, grew up just outside LA. I've been here about 4 years now though, and I really love Colorado. It's absolutely beautiful. I have always liked people, so I studied psychology, school counseling. I've worked with students from K through 12, and then also with adult students. I worked at a makeup academy close to LA as well, working with adult students. Very excited to be here. Just before this role, I was doing financial aid at CU Denver. So I'm really happy to always chat with students about financial aid, make sure they understand what's going on. We all understand it can be intimidating, so I'm here for that. And the picture is of my kitty, Ricky Ricardo. I'm a bit older. Hopefully some of you are familiar with I Love Lucy. So we have our girl named Lucy. And so we had to name the boy Ricky Ricardo, 1 year old this week. So he keeps me busy. And spare time, I do photography as well. I have fun fact, I've been doing it since middle school, since the darkroom days. And my biggest adventure was actually traveling solo in London, worked in a hostel, did a lot of photography there as well. So that was fun. Yeah, looking forward to meeting all of you. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin Mcnulty. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am also a campus advisor here at MSU Denver. I'll be going on my 2nd year with the organization. Prior to this, I've had every job under the sun. No, I'm just kidding, but I've had a lot of not a lot of careers. I've had a lot of jobs. So I have a lot of knowledge about different careers. But previous to this role, I worked at Big Brothers Big Sisters at Inglewood High School, working with students to plan post-secondary options. And then prior to that, I spent 1 year in Steamboat Springs, doing random jobs, but then I landed a job as a career coach. So a lot of our work in our advising will be around career. So I do have experience in that. And then before that, I was a teacher, a high school social studies teacher in DPS. And I actually was in the same teacher education program as Liz. So we both were social studies teachers. So that's kind of a fun fact. And then let's see, schools I've worked at: Prep Academy, it's a small alternative pathways school, Mill Community Arts School, and North High School. Fun fact about me is that I was, one summer when I was teaching, I was a production assistant for Live Nation. So I have some of the, I have some dirt on some famous people, some famous performers, artists, musicians. So I'd love to talk about that as well. And the picture, that's my daughter. She's 7 months as of 2 days ago. Her name is Emma. And yeah, she's awesome. She's hilarious. So that's me.
Hey everyone, I'm BJ Layman. BJ stands for Benjamin James. So some of you will get some like emails, or I'm listed some places as Benjamin. So just FYI, that's me. And some students call me Benjamin. As long as you don't call me Kevin, it's fine. So I grew up just outside of Dallas, Texas. And then I've been in Denver for over 10 years, working at the University of Denver as an academic advisor. And then I've been with DSF since October, so 10 months. And before that, I was actually here at MSU Denver in student activities. So I oversaw volunteer programs, fraternity and sorority life, advised students in student government. So there are a lot of options to get involved. People think that on this campus, it's hard to get involved, but there are options out there for you to build community and get some support. So fun fact about me, so running is my hobby outside of work, and qualifying for the Boston Marathon was my goal for a really long time. And I finally got to run it in October, actually, just before I started with DSF. And because of COVID, it was moved to the fall. It's usually a spring race. So I got to run probably the only ever fall Boston Marathon. And that's a picture of me and my wife, Christina, in the Boston Commons. After the race, I was limping around Boston. So it was a good time. But nice to meet all of you, and we'll move on.
Thank you, BJ. So I am going to go over some of the requirements. I'm sure you're all wondering, like, okay, give me some information on the scholarship. How do I keep it? So we are going to go over, or I'm going to go over some of these requirements, as well as some of the success strategies. So let's see, we can go ahead and go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so what I tell students all the time is this is a very easy scholarship to keep. You do not need a 4.0. You don't need to write an essay every year. You don't need to require like a job as well. So it is fairly easy to keep. It's also easy to lose. So my tip for you is read any emails, any messages from us. We do try to email you when it's important information, when we need information from you, when we need you to take action on something. But just to give you a list of the requirements, most important thing is meeting with us. So you will hear from us when it's time to make your first, second, sometimes third appointment. That 2 to 3 times a semester. If you are a freshman or sophomore, it will be 3 times each semester. So we do ask if you can do one every month to keep things easy for you and spread them out. So for this fall, ideally September, October, November, something like that. Once you're a junior or senior, you only need to meet with us twice. Required, but you can meet with us as many times as you want. We do have some students that do meet with us more than 3 times, and that is what we're here for. We do want to make sure that you're on track to graduate. So we are also going to go over the student success requirements. That is what we call them. And student success requirements are the check-ins or appointments with us, as well as events. We do ask every student to attend 2 events each semester, 1 career related. So if, let's say, you're not sure what your major is, you can always go to an event where they are exploring different fields. If you know exactly what you want to do, sometimes they have guest panels. And the other event is a campus event or some kind of a resource. What that means is if, you know, around Halloween time, they do something for Dia de los Muertos. So it could be something fun, something that you're interested in, something where you will meet people with similar interests, or something where you'll be learning, you know, something new as well. If you want to do if you want to do another campus event, you can also do a resource. So if you are struggling with classes, make an appointment at the tutoring center. There's also the writing center, things like that. That will also count as a campus event. And we will go over them. If you're not sure if something counts, you can always email us. We'll let you know if that counts for us. Next thing is maintaining SAP, Satisfactory Academic Progress. This is linked to financial aid. Pretty much 2.0 GPA is what you need to maintain. And also 67% completion rate. What that means is if you, let's say, register for 4 classes, and then later on, a month or 2 from now, you end up withdrawing from one of the classes, you are completing 3 out of 4. That's 75%. You have to keep it at 67% in order to be meeting those requirements. So always talk to us first if you want to withdraw from a class. We can also let you know if that could possibly affect your financial aid. The big things you want to do in the fall and spring. Fall, you want to complete the FAFSA or CASFA. We will have workshops for you. Individual appointments as well. If you prefer to just, you know, one of the appointments, we can focus on completing that FAFSA or CASFA for you. And the other big thing is renewing the DSF scholarship in the spring. And each semester you want to be enrolled full-time. I know it sounds like a lot, but just remember, I'm enrolling full-time. I'm going to meet with my, you know, advisor a couple times, 2 or 3 times each semester. I'll do a couple of events. And then the big things, fall, you want to complete the FAFSA or CASFA. And in the spring, you'll be renewing the DSF scholarship application, which is very simple. It takes just a couple of minutes to complete. And that's a very hard deadline as well. So you want to make sure that you complete it by the deadline, which will be May 1st. And we will remind you and we will send you emails and updates. So we'll definitely help you along the way to make sure that you stay on track. I'm sure you probably have some questions. So we will be going over those in the end. If anything is popping up for you, please add them to the chat and we will go over them towards the end. Okay, thank you.
All right, so my objective here is to make sure you all understand how to be successful in completing all your requirements. But before I do that, I just wanted to state why, right? So a lot of these things feel like they might just be checking off a box, but we're really here to support you on your college journey, your career journey, to ensure that you are having the best experience possible and to set you up for success in whatever pathway you take after this. So it's not, you know, don't feel like it's just checking off a box, but really utilize us to help support you. So how do you stay successful? How does this communication going to work? Valerie already typed in the question box. Thank you. Great question. How are we supposed to schedule an appointment with you all? Great question. So we will, once we have our caseload settled, so each of you will have an advisor, and once you are on our caseloads, we will send out communication to you all that will have a scheduling link in it that you can set up a meeting with whoever is your advisor. In that email, and what I'm going to explain today too, is that we are trying to cut down on our emails. So once you're on our caseload, we will sign you up for our Canvas shell class. It's not really a class with grades and quizzes and things like that, but it is where we are going to expect you to check once a week, preferably on Mondays, to see any updates for your scholarship and also see what it is you might need to do that week for the scholarship, and all the events, campus and career events that are coming up that week or in that month will be housed in Canvas. The reason we're doing this is because we used to just email students all the time and we don't want your inboxes to get full. So the expectation is that you will check Canvas once a week. And that will have all the information you need on it. Also, it'll have all kinds of support videos. If you're like, oh, I can't remember how to register for classes, that'll be there. If you can't remember how to log your pathways, which we'll talk about coming up in a second, that'll be there. If you're wondering where you can go get support for writing, that'll be there. So it's just going to be a one-stop shop, and that'll be your DSF Canvas class. You will be invited to that hopefully next week. So that will turn up there. Course syllabus and due dates. The course syllabus just explains what DSF is. Due dates, those will be there as well. Those will go over when your student success requirements are due, when, for example, the DSF scholarship renewal is due, when FAFSA starts, things like that. Campus resources will also be housed on that Canvas course as well. I want to say take advantage of those campus resources, right? It's a lot different than high school where you might spend 2 or 3 days working on a thesis statement. Here in college, our professor is just going to be like, yeah, you got an essay due in a month. Good luck. They're not going to tell you how to write a thesis statement. It's up to you, if you need help and support with that, to reach out to the Writing Center. If you're confused about a certain math skill, reach out to the two-room center and they can support you with that. Okay, bottom line here is one thing. I know that was a lot. Bottom line here, it's easy. If you see communication from DSF, open it, read it. There's important information in there. That's your number one thing. Okay, next slide.
Okay, so I'm sure you all are pretty overwhelmed with a lot of information. So I'm just going to quickly go over these dates. They're important dates for the year. We'll touch on them in all of your appointments, and we'll be communicating on Canvas, like Kevin said. The big one to know right now is you have until Sunday to get 100% refund if you withdraw from a class. So keep in mind to maintain your scholarship, you do need 12 credit hours, but you can adjust your schedule through Sunday. If you need some help with that, please reach out to us. If you're debating how many courses to take or whether to withdraw from one, just let us know. Census Date, September 7th is the 50% refund date for dropping classes. And it's also an important date for us because that's when MSU Denver sends your information to DSF and they provide the scholarship to your account. So if you're wondering where the DSF scholarship is, it hits your account actually after census each semester. FAFSA and CASFA, those open October 1st. The application will provide a ton of resources, appointments, workshops to help you get through that. Spring registration will open October 31st. Don't need to worry about that right now. Your pathways, where you submit all of your requirements and say that you met with your advisor and you attended the events, you have until November 4th to submit those, but you can actually continue going to events and meeting with us after that date. You just need to let your advisor know. That's also the withdrawal deadline for the semester. So after November 4th, students can't withdraw from classes. You just have to take the grade at that point. And then last one, DSF renewal is April 1st. The renewal, like Denise said, is very quick and easy. We'll make sure you do it in your appointments. It takes less than a minute often to renew that scholarship. And so, yeah, those are the important dates for the semester. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll make sure to cover it in more detail. But next up, we have Jasmine with us, who is gonna go over a really cool opportunity to join our DSF leadership program.
Hello, everyone. It's nice seeing you all. My name is Jasmine Villalobos. My pronouns are she and her. I'm the coordinator of scholarship, leadership, and community partner programs here at MSU Denver. All these to say I work with the DSF leadership program and the Dream.us scholarship. And so I'm here to promote the DSF leadership program for you guys to, if you guys are looking for programs to be involved. This program is a leadership, social and emotional support network for DSF scholars to build community, to meet other DSF scholars. Most often I hear students like, hey, you're a DSF scholar? Like, yeah, I'm also like in the same class. And so that's really neat to see. It's a optional program, so you sign up. There's no requirements. Really, you can attend as many events as you want, but really nothing like you have to meet with me, anything like that. You can also just opt in to receive a newsletter or be part of the DSF leadership team. It's up to you. Really, the program focuses on developing workshops, and these workshops can be this year and past years, we've done trips to the Denver Art Museum. We've done community building, more so of career development, meeting with the US Bank, and they're offering their management program. And then also another part of it is the DSF Leadership Advisory Board. That one is a really cool a piece to be a part of, since you get to manage and oversee $1,000 and plan out whatever event you guys, whatever the board decides to do. Last year, they did a Chatfield day at the lake, and they got to play volleyball, cornhole, make food for each other. In past years and pre-COVID, they gone to the Denver Aquarium, done canoeing, all sorts of fun things, really. And it's an opportunity for you to build your resume and add all of those skills that you learn in being part of the advisory board into your resume. Another piece of it is faculty mentorship. So we do have a faculty that provides mentorship in whatever. It also connects you to other faculty in different departments. This year is Annie Butler from the Human Services. And it's really neat to connect in that area too. Past years, it's been from the English department, education department as well. So it really varies from semester to semester, but definitely a good networking opportunity to gain there. And lastly, the alternative spring break, the program, it's an opportunity for students to travel and volunteer at different sites. And so this upcoming year for 2023, we're planning a trip to South Dakota to volunteer with the Cheyenne River Youth Project. If you haven't been to a Native American reservation, this is your opportunity. It's a really eye-opening opportunity and really fun experience to connect with a different community and learn about their culture. In addition to that, we're doing a trip to Alamosa, and also 4 hours away from here. So definitely, if you enjoy volunteering and traveling, this might be it for you. But really, overall, we provide a lot of programming throughout the event, retreats, YMCA retreat, fun. If you guys haven't done a Tivoli tour, we also do that, really just to meet and connect with other DSF scholars and build your community here at MSU. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thanks, Jasmine. So now we'll take any questions. I know there was one about setting appointments, so I'll quickly go over that and then any other questions you have. So like I said, we wait for census before we confirm that you met all the qualifications for the scholarship and then place you on a caseload for an advisor. At that point, we will do outreach to you. We'll email. We have a texting system called Signalvine where we can text you. And then in Canvas, we'll also have our link to make an appointment. So there's several different options there for you to make an appointment with us. If you need help prior to that date, please don't hesitate to reach out. We can make an appointment even if I don't end up being your advisor, but you just need some help. Like, don't be afraid to reach out and we can meet with you before then. But that census date is important because that'll be the day we know who's on our caseload and you'll get a ton of communication pushed out to you. Any other questions that you have?
And it doesn't necessarily have to be DSF related. If you have questions that maybe popped up yesterday, if yesterday was your first day or today is or tomorrow is, and you're like, where do I, what do I, how do I, any of those. I know we have 2 sophomores in here that been through a year, so you know they could also provide some tips if you have any questions for them too. Putting you guys on the spot. All right, so what if I have a hybrid class? How would I know to join the class online? That's a good question.
So hybrid classes are really important. When you go to the detailed schedule, it tells you what days you'll be on campus. So make sure you go and see which days you're going to have to be there. And then to join online, your instructor will provide like login instructions usually in the syllabus or in the Canvas course shell of how to join the class.
So let's see. Roberto, do you know how to get to Canvas? You can just check. Okay, yeah. So let me just show you how to get to Canvas. I'm going to share my screen real fast.
Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
This one here. Okay, so this is good for everyone to know. This is the MSU Denver Student Hub. And this is where like everything that you're going to need as a student lives. And if you're wondering, how do I find that? Well, I don't remember either. So I just go MSU Denver Student Hub in Google and it will be the first thing that pops up. And so I'm not going to go over everything I don't want to overwhelm you, but where Canvas is it's down here in Web Services, Canvas. When you log in there, all your Canvas courses will pop up. So if you're in a hybrid class, it'll be there. If you're in an online class, it'll be there. Once you're on our DSF caseload, it'll be there. All right, so that's where Canvas is. Hope that helps.
And Roberto, if it's still, you're still getting in there and you're like, I don't know, reach out to one of us. My email is on that original email that I sent. Oh, cool, he found it. Woohoo, I'm glad. Yeah, that was probably stressful. I could imagine. You're like, how do I know? So I'm glad we're able to help you out. Does anybody else have questions?
Looks like there's a question directed just to us about the freshman year transition workshop. The question is it optional or mandatory? So that event is optional. We highly recommend any first year students to attend because it'll be a great way to kick off your college career. Some important information and like tips about how to be successful in college compared to high school. But you don't have to go. It is an option for one of your events. Remember, you're required to do 2 events, a career event and like a campus event. This could be your campus event for the year, for the semester.
That's telling me you read your email. I'm glad. So make note, it is not tomorrow, but it will be on Thursday. So if you registered, we'll know, like kind of expect that you're coming. If things change, reach out to me in the email that I sent it to you and say, hey, I realized I have class, or, you know, if things come up, but we highly would like encourage you to attend these things. When you look at your SSRs, we do have some events that are required for you to attend, but you have a large, I would say, pool of events that you could choose from. So you don't always have to select the ones that we're hosting, which we would really like you to, but there's going to be other events that will be happening. Like if you join the leadership program and there's an event that they're having, we will count that as SSR complete, one of the requirements. Or I think somebody said they're part of Pathways to Possible as well. So those things you just need to talk to your campus advisor about, and we'll let you know what counts. But for Thursday, we definitely want to provide you with, you know, some tools at the freshman year transition workshop, as some of you are coming straight from high school. College is a lot different than high school, and we want to give you those tools to help you be successful, especially during, you know, your first month. You're going to run into a lot of things that maybe we'll talk about and things like that. Okay, so I encourage you to attend. We'll be happy to see you there. It's going to be an in-person event. We didn't get to do too much of those last year either, so we're glad that we're able to do those again. Let's see. So events are mandatory or only certain ones? So there's a certain amount of events. Can you guys remind me the number? Is it one community event and one career event? Is that correct?
Yeah, we call it one campus event and one career event each semester.
Right. Since you guys attended, I'm also going to be sending you our flyer. So it's called our SSR one pager, and that's going to give you the breakdown. You're probably like, how does she not know? I came from CCD, so I'm pretty brand new to MSU Denver. I was the campus advisor at CCD, so I'm still kind of learning their requirements as well here at MSU Denver for DSF. So ours is a little different. They vary between colleges, but yeah. There was something I was going to say about that too. But you'll see it on that one pager that I'll send you. I'm going to send you that. I'll send you the link to the survey. We don't want you to forget that either. Looks like somebody's trying to join, but if they could join now and ask questions, that works for me. So Kevin dropped it. One campus, one career related event are mandatory to attend each semester. Okay, and they don't have to be specific ones that we're sending you. If you find an event on campus and you attend it, we'll talk about how to enter it into your pathways. So this way it gets counted and documented that you attended. Okay, any other questions that you might have? Is anybody wondering where their money is at? I think I've gotten a few emails about that. If that's the case, BJ had mentioned Census Date is kind of our target date to make sure that you have met all DSF requirements. So right now, the one that we're kind of waiting on is that you are enrolled full-time. So 12 credits is full-time enrollment, and that's what DSF would like you to be enrolled in as our last leg of if you're eligible for the scholarship. So once we verify that with MSU Denver, you'll start to see your money go into your account, goes towards tuition. You might even get a refund if you're kind of over, you know, your tuition is paid and then DSF goes in, you might be getting a refund too. There's always those bonuses and you're like, wait, is this for real? I had students ask me, it says I'm getting $800 back. Is this a scam? I'm like, no, it's not a scam. Little surprises that you sometimes get. Can't promise that'll happen to everybody, but you might see it. Any other questions? If you want to let me know, let us know in the chat kind of how you're feeling with the information that we gave to you today. So let's say a 1 is you're cool, you're feeling great. 10, I'm a little worried. I don't remember anything you said, but don't worry if you put a 10, because that's what we're here for. Like we had mentioned, we'd be reaching out to you soon to set up appointments, to get to know you, to help guide you, to get you where you need to be and be successful. So 1, if somebody could drop those numbers, we have an 8.5. All right. Thank you, Valerie. Anybody else? We have a 4, so kind of middle ground. A 1, Juan's feeling good. All right, Juan. Not that feeling nervous is a bad thing. That means that your mind's thinking. Okay, not worried about that. Anybody else? And again, if you have questions after we are completed, you could definitely reach out to any of us. Since my email is kind of the one that has been sending things and we don't have final caseloads yet, you could reach out to me and I could answer questions for you that you may have if they pop up after. Also plugging the survey one more time. So this way we have that information from you and it also counts as attendance for today. And if it got lost in the chat, I'm going to pop it in there again. I did write your guys' names down too. So, but we would like the survey back. So if I don't see the survey by Friday, I might reach out to you and say, hey, don't forget the survey. All right. About 2 minutes left. Forever hold your peace. Just kidding. You could reach out to us anytime. But if anything comes up between now and the next time that we reach out to you, just, you know, it's fine. You could find us. All right, if there's not any other questions, you are free to go about your day. Have a great first week of college. Again, we're here if you need us, and be on the lookout for some information from us coming soon. All right, have a good day. Thank you, Valerie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.